Overcoming insecurity. It's no secret that the human race is plagued with insecurity. And if you're watching this video, there's an extremely high chance that you too have an insecurity or something that's niggling at you. What's it niggling? Something that's nagging at you that you niggling away at you that you want to get rid of. That's why you're watching this video. But before I get into it, just know what decked up for this video. I have all the notes here. So if you see me looking down, I'll be looking down at my notes. I actually want to get a whiteboard soon. So it's like I can give proper lessons where I'm writing notes on the board and then you write notes, whatever, because these videos are long. I'm not going to be dropping 30-minute videos for no reason. It's for you guys to learn everything that I've learned and want to share. So the first thing that we need to realize is that we have insecurities, and you have to ask ourselves, why do we have these insecurities? The reason we have these insecurities is because we believe that we are supposed to look, behave, act, operate, function in a certain way. And whenever we veer from that certain way, we are no longer normal, and therefore we are no longer valued. That's where insecurity stems from. The feeling that whatever it is you're insecure about isn't normal. And because it isn't normal, it's a point of concern. It's a point for you not to be proud. And before I dive into this, right, and before I dive into the rest of this video, I just want to give you a bit of hope. A lot of you, if you're watching this, you're probably in your 20s, maybe even 30s, and you've had insecurities since you were 6 years old, and you're thinking, can I even get rid of this insecurity? First of all, anything's possible. Second of all, I just want to introduce you to this hermetic law called the law of polarity. Simply, the law of polarity states that at opposing degrees, for example, hot and cold, the only difference between hot and cold is a rate of vibration. The only difference between something that is soft and something that is hard is a rate of vibration. The only difference between steam and ice is a rate of vibration. Similarly, the only difference between insecurity and security is a rate of vibration. I know you're going to be like, what does vibration have to do with anything? But everything is energy. Everything is whatever. The point is, everything is energy, right? So if you think about things in terms of vibration, you think about insecurity and security in terms of vibration per se. Or becoming secure would be changing your vibration per se. And I know a lot of you have clicked off this video. Well, the people who have clicked off this video didn't hear me saying a lot of you have clicked off this video. So if you're still here, you may be puzzled. Like, why is this nigga talking about vibrations? Why is he talking about altering vibrations? That's some woo stuff, but it's true. Vibrations are very much real, and even if you don't think they're real, you can take the concept that the difference between two things, a lot of the time two opposing things, is just a rate of vibration, a rate of separation. We can see this specifically when it comes to love and hate. They all say that if you can hate someone, you can love them, and if you love someone, you can hate them. And most of the times, the people you hate now are people you once loved, because love and hate are two ends of the same pole. So they are polar to each other. The only difference between love and hate is a rate of vibration. The only difference between love and hate is it's like, let's say, a situation that happened. It's something that happened that altered your perception, which vibration, whatever. Now, I'm just trying to get you to see my point, right? And also, I want to state that this altering of vibration, this altering of a degree, can only be done when it comes to things that are like. So things that are of the same pole, the same degree. So hot can be turned to cold, but hot can't be turned to sweet. So when it comes to our example of insecurity and security, insecurity can't be turned to joy. Insecurity can be turned to security. So that should be your goal while you're watching this video, while you're taking notes. Say, okay, I want to become secure about the thing that I'm currently insecure about. So that's your goal. So the reason why I think we have our insecurities is growing up, right? Human beings, we're actually quite rowdy. We're quite wild. And we look at animals like dogs, we look at foxes, we look at all these animals saying, oh, we have to domesticate those animals. I have you know that every single human being has been domesticated. And what domestication is essentially setting a foundation, a blueprint of what is allowed, what is acceptable, and adhering to that standard. So that's what children go through. Because if you leave a child, you don't raise them properly, you don't even instill anything, they're gonna be, who knows what they're gonna be. Everyone will turn out different. And that's how it is for animals per se. Even animals in the wild are domesticated to a certain degree because they have to do certain things to survive. Certain things are shunned upon in their pack, tribe, whatever. But the point is, we were raised to be a certain way. And in the process of that raising, let's say we would be 2 years old, 3 years old, 4 years old, whatever, and you would do something that isn't societally correct, that people do not like, and your parents would punish you for that. So let's say you are rude to your parents. Being rude just isn't a nice trait societally, whether it's to your parents, whether it's to your son, to your best friend, especially to your girlfriend. Like, just being rude isn't a good trait in society, right? So let's say we did something. Rude isn't even the best example. Let's say we just started speaking fast, asking too many questions. We were loud, and our parents punished us for that. The punishment could have been you got slapped across the face. It could have been they shouted at you. It could have been they just looked at you weird, and you felt like they didn't love you anymore. So theoretically, there's nothing wrong with this. You're just training a child, you're domesticating a child, raising them up to be a good member of society, right? But the issue is nothing is compartmentalized in the mind. So how we view one thing a lot of the time is going to be how we will subconsciously view other things. So when it comes to this example, when we were younger, we did things that weren't normal, that weren't okay for human beings to do, right? And we saw that, okay, when we do things that aren't okay, things that aren't normal, we get punished. So the issue with all of this is that the mind extrapolates to areas where this principle, this theory just doesn't make sense. So the mind will extrapolate to, let's say, if I don't look normal, if I don't look like the beauty standard, then I will be punished. But see, the funny thing is that no one is going to punish you for not looking the same way as other people. No one's going to punish you for being black when the beauty standard is white. So that's where insecurities come. Insecurities are a punishment to ourselves. We are no longer proud of the things that we are insecure about. And in not being proud, we try hide it. We criticize ourselves for it. We try bash it down each time it comes out. So we are punishing ourselves. Insecurity is nothing but a self punishment, right? And all of this self punishment is truly odd because when you think about it, given the example of, let's say, beauty standards, that if I don't look normal, then I'm not enough, I'm not valued. It's so fickle to base yourselves off of those standards because let's look at beauty standards, right? When I was like 5 years old and I'll be on Trace Urban, because I have two older sisters, they're 8 years older than me, or 8 and 6 years older than me. I'm the youngest child, whether you believe that or not. But anyways, so my sisters, they'll be watching their music videos on Trace Urban, and I was 5, 6 years old, 7 years old. I should not have been on Trace Urban. I grew up on Trace Urban, seeing these music videos. And if you were ever on Trace Urban, you know what I'm talking about. Those music videos, car. No place for anyone under the age of, let's say, 13. But anyways, when I was there, the beauty standard for women was very much skinny, light women, right? So a lot of the time, one of my sisters is naturally like bigger bones, so she's naturally thicker per se. And it's weird to say that about my sister. No, it's just an observation. But one of my sisters is naturally thicker per se. And growing up, she used to be so insecure about it because her beauty standard was slim and light. My sisters are both light comparatively, like whatever. But the beauty standard was slim, and one of them wasn't naturally slim. So she was insecure about that, and she used to try hide it. She used to try lose weight. She used to try do all sorts of things, right? And then you fast forward 15 years later to now, 15, 17 years later to now, where the beauty standard is very much gain some weight, get thick, have a bit of flesh to you, and now she's proud of that aspect of herself. But the thing is, she was insecure about it. Why? Because it wasn't normal at that time. So what you classed as an insecurity was just a variation to the norm, was just an anomaly to what is normal per se. So the reason why I give the story is to tell you that insecurities are nothing but abnormalities. And there's nothing that's really abnormal in this world because we're 8 billion people. So something that you think is abnormal, right? There's going to be another billion people with that thing. So nothing is truly abnormal. So what we think insecurities are is just essentially a difference from the mean, right? If you're, I might lose some of you here because some of you believe you're not good at maths. But let's say you're looking at a graph and the theme of this book here is the trend of the graph. If you have something like here, you're going to say that's not normal. If you have something that's like here, you're going to say that's not normal. Everything that's normal will be along the trend of this graph, right? And a lot of the times, this is the graph for beauty standards: skinny, 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 right? Sorry. Someone will be fat, not fat. Someone will be overweight, not overweight. Someone will just be slightly thicker, right? Like they'll have curves to them, but they're not skinny and by any means, but they have curves to them, attractive figure. And they just won't feel confident about their body. They'll feel insecure. Why? Because it isn't normal. So now they are punishing themselves, just like their parents punished them for not doing things that were quote unquote normal in society, that were acceptable. Um, yeah. And furthermore, I was giving this definition of insecurity being this deviation from the mean, but more so, insecurity is a lack of awareness of the subject of your insecurity's beauty. So let's say the example of being sick, right? A lot of the time, 15 years ago, women would be insecure about having a bit of chunkiness to them, having a bit of weight, because they didn't, it's like they lacked the awareness or they lacked the validation that, you know what, that this aspect of me is actually valuable. There's actually beauty in this aspect. So the first thing about insecurity that I hope you've seen is that to get over an insecurity, you have to learn the beauty of it. Because a lot of the times, what we are insecure about, there's nothing wrong with it. I can guarantee you that for your insecurity, you've probably come across an Instagram. Your I have a lamp here. I nearly slapped it onto my laptop. But I can guarantee that for your insecurity, you probably come across a creator on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube who has praised themselves for that exact thing. If you're insecure about being thick and you want to be skinny, you probably come across a creator that's been like, oh, I'm so happy. Or someone who's trying to get the thing that you have. That's the crazy thing about insecurities. The very thing that you're insecure about, someone could be trying to get that thing. But back to my point, you've come across people who praise themselves for being thick. You've come across people who praise themselves for having bushy eyebrows. You've come across people who praise themselves for having what's it called? A certain jaw shape, a certain head shape. And I have a perfect example for that. Look at the size of my head, right? And look at my jaw. My head has been this size since I was 8 years old. This very head that you see on me was on my 8-year-old body. Right? So growing up, I was bullied a lot about it. I was called the Hulk. I was called Bobblehead, and people like it wasn't normal. Like my head, the chiseling on my jaw, like whatever, the size of my head just wasn't normal for my age, and I felt bad. I was insecure about it, so I'd try wear caps. I'd try wear like things that would make my neck look thicker. I'd wear hoodies so that it's like, you know, when you wear a hoodie you can't really see your neck, so your head just looks smaller in general. And I did all of that in efforts to try make my jawline, my head seem less big, right? And then as I got older, my head stayed the same. Fair enough, my body grew into it, but my head stayed the same. Then people were suddenly like, oh, your jaw's so chiseled. Oh, I wish I had a jaw like that. Oh, whatever. Like, I wish I looked like that. And through those comments from other people, I began to get more secure about those traits. I began to find strength in them. And why did I find strength in them? Because other people saw the beauty in the things that I had. Other people saw the beauty in my big head. Other people saw the beauty in my jawline, right? What they used to be like, oh, square face, oh, you whatever. They're not like, oh, you have such a structured face. I wish I had bone structure like you. And the reason why it was no longer an insecurity was because I found value and beauty in that thing. It's not that I changed it. It's not that I magically reprogram my subconscious mind, which is actually what happened. But the main thing is I found value and beauty in it. So, in this quest for security that you're going through, you need to realize that the moment people praise you for the thing you're insecure about, and if enough people praise it, if it becomes this household thing on social media where the thing you're insecure about becomes a new beauty standard, right? Now you'll be confident about it. Now you'll be like, yeah, I'm secure about this. Why? Because everyone else likes it. So the source of our securities comes from validation. Let's face it or not. People will be, oh, don't seek validation, whatnot, whatnot. But the truth is, we are human beings. We are programmed to seek validation from somewhere, right? So if the source of your security is from validation, why not validate yourself? Hmm? Why not validate yourself? Because, see, the reason your insecurity in the past turned into a security is because people began to validate it. It's because it began to become a, beauty standard per se. Having a jawline was now cool. See, having a strong jawline like this isn't cool when you're 6 years old and your head is half the size of your body. Like, quite literally, like my head was probably half the size of my body mass, right? But now when I'm 18, 19, and my jawline's the same thing that it was when I was 7 years old, now it's beautiful. Why? Because people have observed the value in that feature. So the key to changing your insecurities into security is to validate the very thing, find beauty in the very thing that you're insecure about. And more so, don't wait for the world to validate the thing that you're insecure about. Validate it yourself. And that's just a message in life. You actually write that down. Don't wait for the world to give you anything. Give it to yourself. Don't wait for the world to give you validation. Give it to yourself. Don't wait for the world to give you praise. Give it to yourself. I know it's bad to say, I praise myself. I praise myself. But nigga, I praise myself. I praise myself. I'll be the first person to say I'm that nigga. Ask my friends. I'm the first person to say I'm that nigga. I just don't believe in only getting praise from other people. And of course, I'm not gonna go on my balcony. I don't have a balcony in my house, but I'm not gonna go on the balcony and shout to the masses that I'm that nigga. But my internal dialogue, I'm giving it to myself. Pause. Whatever you think giving it is, it's not that. But I'm giving myself the validation. So in my head, there's this voice saying, you know what? You're actually that nigga. You know what? You're actually quite handsome. You know what? You have a nice jawline. Your jawline is beautiful. In this game of turning insecurity into security, give it to yourself. The validation that you seek, give it to yourself. Because as I said before, insecurity can be seen as a lack of awareness of the subject of your insecurity's beauty. Right? So the thing that you're insecure about, it has value, it has beauty. But the reason you're insecure about it is because number one, you're not aware, or number two, you haven't internalized that beauty. So, yeah. So actually, that actually made me realize that when I don't get me started, but I'm gonna get started just now. But first, on my story yesterday, I put up this story and I was telling my followers on Instagram. If you're not following me on Instagram, actually go follow me right now. I drop a lot of questions, a lot of content there. But I asked my viewers, story viewers, I was like, oh, I'm making a video on insecurity tomorrow. If you have any questions, anything you want to help with, anything you want me to directly address, just drop a comment here, right? And let me get to the serious business first. So, with what I was talking about, that you mustn't wait for the world to give it value, it's being your insecurity. Rather, you must do it yourself. One of my viewers, one of the questions there was, how do I not seek validation from others? And the key to this is you stop seeking validation from others if you start giving yourself the things that you are seeking from others. So the point is, you're seeking validation from someone, like to say, oh, you're cool. Tell yourself you're cool. And I know that's stupid. And I know, not it's not stupid, it's very smart. But I know it sounds stupid, like, what would telling myself I'm cool do? But the more you validate yourself, the less you need others to validate you, right? And this is going to be a mini crash course on learning to seek validation from yourself. To learn to seek validation from yourself, you have to start being guided by yourself, right? So in my case, making videos, right? I would make videos that I would see on my For You page, and I'd be like, oh, this is cool. But that was seeking validation from other people. A video to me was used to only be good when someone in my comment section said, oh, this is good. But as I created more content, I started giving myself more validation. So I would be editing a video and I'll be thinking, I like this video. Like I'm smiling editing my video. In terms of fashion, I would be putting on a fit and I would be like, I'm dressed well. And I'll put on the fit and I'll walk out the house like I'm the best dressed man on the earth, right? I was giving myself a validation. So if you struggle with seeking validation from other people, you need to learn to give yourself validation. You need to learn to be your first point of reference. Because your first point of reference will a lot of the times tell you who you seek validation from, right? I think as human beings, we are actually programmed to seek validation from other people. That's why you see like children, they'll do something that they think is cool, and they'll look at their parents and they're like, did you see that? And then now the parents are like, oh, well done, well done. Now the child will be happy about themselves. But that sets a destructive tone for our life, always seeking validation from others. But that's how to stop seeking validation from other people. I hope I answered your question. It's quite an intense topic, so I tried to answer it in a way that would not make this video 2 hours long. Oh yeah, by the way, I'm actually trying to make longer videos, not cut them. This video will have cuts because I messed up at the beginning. But I'm just trying to build up the skill of speaking a long time. But you guys don't care about that. So the key to turning, as you've seen previously, the key from turning insecurity to insecurity, going from insecurity to security, is to emotionally affirm the positive. I know a lot of you niggas who want to be stoic, like emotionally. You hear the word emotionally, like, nah, I'm nonchalant. Nah, I'm not supposed to feel emotions. Nah, no, whatever, right? But one thing I want you to realize, and one thing that I'm going to say briefly, is that your subconscious mind, the source of all your beliefs, the root of all your beliefs, is programmed not by thoughts, not by logic, but emotion. And where the thought comes in is that thought has to have an emotion attached to it. And a lot of the times, the most emotionally charged thoughts that we have are the ones that sit in our subconscious minds. Those are the ones that control our reality, right? So if you look at your insecurity, all insecurities make you feel something, whether it be anxious, whether it be sad, whether it be worthless, whether it be ugly. I don't know what the emotion attached to ugly is. I guess it would be worthless. Like, just feel like you're not enough. All of them have an emotion attached to it. And the issue that we make these days is like we've gone online and we see affirmations. So you think, well, you've learned the truth that your thoughts like govern the life you live. So you try to change your beliefs by thought only when your current beliefs are thought plus emotion. See, let's say you are insecure about the way you look, right? The thought is there. I don't like the way I look. But there's also the emotion attached to it, whether it be that self worthlessness, whether it be that anxiety, but it's I don't like the way I look, plus anxiety. So it would be stupid to try tackle that by just saying, I like the way I look. You have to attach emotions to your thoughts that like the thoughts that you want to stick, you have to attach emotion to them. So when it comes to changing your security or your insecurity to security, you have to emotionally attach an emotion to a thought. So obviously the thought would be the secure version. So I'm actually gonna let me give an example for this right now to illustrate it. So opening up to you guys, right? I would say for the first 21 years and 11 months of my life, so up until April this year, I don't know why I'm saying it, I did not feel like I was enough. And why I didn't feel like I was enough? the goalpost changed each time, but for some reason, I just did not feel like I was enough. And it actually stemmed from my childhood. Like a lot of the times when I was a child, like grown up in a very academic family, like people are good at school, and so it's like a set a standard that if you're not good at school, guy, like you're not one of us, huh? You're not one of us. So there were times where I'll do badly, and I'll just feel like I'm not one of them. I'm not one of them anymore. So it's I felt like my worth was tied towards my performance. My worth was tied towards how well I was doing. So in absence of something to prove my worth, I always felt like I wasn't enough. So the way I realize this and the way this manifests this is I just didn't feel like I was enough for the people around me. Why? Because I had nothing in that moment to prove why I was enough. And quite frankly, proving why I was enough every single day would be exhausting, right? So I just didn't feel like I was enough. And this coupled with just a terrible mental state at the time, like I went into, I wouldn't call it a depression, but honestly, one of the darkest times of my life. There were times where I'll be on calls with my partner, yeah, my partner, and I start crying, start breaking down. It was because I didn't feel like I was enough. I didn't feel like I deserved to have any of that. And obviously, she would affirm that I was enough, but I didn't emotionally believe it. So I wouldn't believe it. Like, I'm not enough. I haven't proved to you that I'm enough. So I was insecure about my worth. And eventually, I just decided that, enough is enough. Like, selfishly, I want to feel like I'm enough. I don't want to wake up every day with this weight of having to prove myself. I don't want to wake up every day with this weight of not feeling like I was enough. So I began to decode and go down the roots of where this insecurity came from, where this belief that I wasn't enough came from. And I found the belief, and for the sake of my family, I'm not going to say the source of it. But I found why I didn't feel like I was enough. And based on everything that I've learned about the subconscious mind, how our subconscious mind is programmed with thoughts that are attached to emotions. So if you look at your subconscious mind, the things you subconsciously believe, it's a thought, but behind that thought is a strong emotion. So I realized that to counter the insecurity and to go to security, like the law of polarity, right? I'd have to alter I'd have to alter the degree of the emotion. So the emotion was worthlessness, feeling like I'm not enough. The opposite of that, on the opposite pole, would be worthiness, pride. For those of you saying pride is bad, like it's good to take pride in yourself. Like, yeah, I'm that nigga. Yeah, I'm enough. So I knew that that was the emotion that I was supposed to feel, like this sense of enoughness. I'm struggling to find the emotion. So it was very stupid at first. It felt very stupid, but during this period, I wasn't going to the gym. I was just going on long walks every day, and I was gymming at home. So it was quite literally a chamber of still recovering from that sickness. It was quite literally a chamber of reflection. Like when I tell you, the only people I was interacting with were my cousins and people at my church. That was the only time I was leaving my house. So I'll do this thing where say I'll go on a walk, and I'll just be like, I'm enough. And like how I would attach an emotion to that is I'll think about something that made me enough, right? And then the emotion will come, and then I'll sit with that emotion for like the next 5 minutes, and then I'll say, I'm enough, right? Because 5 minutes later, I would have forgotten the very thing that made me feel like I was proud of myself, that made me feel like I was enough. But the emotion stuck with me, not say, I'm enough, I'm enough. Every time I affirmed to myself that I was enough, I'm that nigga, I'm enough, whatever, I'm worthy, I deserve love, I deserve someone who stays, I don't have to prove myself to the people around me. Every time I said those things, attached to those thoughts was an emotion that was the opposite of the emotion that was attached to my insecure thoughts, right? So when I felt like I wasn't enough, I just felt anxious because it's like, oh, the people around me, they're going to leave because they will realize that I'm not enough, right? So the opposite of anxious is like a serenity, peace. So I had this emotion of peace. Like I'm quite a peaceful person. Like if you know me, I'm very mellow. Um, yeah, I'm just very mellow. I wouldn't say mellow actually. Like I'm a very calm, peaceful person. I don't shout. I don't raise my voice. I don't get angry often. I don't experience like heightened emotions often. I'm just a calm sailing person, right? So the opposite of anxiety is very much peace, my base state. So I attach my base emotions, that peace, that serenity, to I'm enough. And I know I'm saying I'm enough with such vigor now that you think I was saying like I'm enough. But there actually was one day where I was on the verge of tears, and I started affirming that I was enough with so much emotion that after that day, I've not had a problem with believing I'm enough. But the point is, I began to oppose the opposing beliefs to the insecurity. So now the security beliefs with an emotion that was opposing the um, insecure emotion. So I brought the law of polarity earlier on that the only difference between two ends of a pole is a rate of vibration. They're just differing degrees, right? So the only difference between insecurity, sorry, the only difference between insecurity and security is just a rate of mental vibration. Like, I hope I'm not losing you, but just a rate of mental vibration. The only difference between insecurity and security is a thought and an emotion. It's a varying degree on that emotion, right? It's the same thing, but just a bit further down the spectrum. That's the difference between insecurity and security. So apply this to whatever you're insecure about. The difference between your insecurity and your desired security is just a difference in vibration. That's why you see that many of the things that you like about yourself you did not like. Do you know the things I love about myself right now? My facial structure, I hated it. I thought I was ugly until I was 13. What else do I like about myself? Everything. Did I hate everything? At one point, I actually did. But darkness aside, the point is the things that you love now are things that you probably hated in the past. So if you really analyze your life, you'll be able to see something that you love now that you hated, and you'll be able to see that it really isn't that hard to go from hatred to love. Therefore, it isn't that hard to go from security to insecurity. It's just a small alteration in your thoughts. See, I hold the belief that the only difference between our material and physical manifestations in this life, like the only difference between someone who's rich and poor, is a thought form, right? Obviously, when you're born, you can't control that. You can't control where you're born. But if you leave people alone for 50 years, the only difference between someone, let's say two people born in the same environment, the only difference between the one who went on to be rich and the one who went on to be poor is a difference in thought. It's a small difference. It's a small difference in operating. It's a small difference in their mind. The only difference between someone who's insecure about something and that same someone being secure about something is a small alteration in their thoughts. See, the only difference between my jaw, like my love for my jaw, is when I was a child, I looked in the mirror and I felt weird. Pretend I'm looking in the mirror. I felt weird. And the thought is, my jawline is so strong. So that weirdness communicated to my subconscious mind that, you know what, this isn't good. Whereas now, I look in the mirror, I still have the same thoughts. My jawline is so strong. It's very defined. But now I feel a sense of like pride. And because I feel a sense of pride, it's now this positive thing that I'm like, okay, I like this thing about myself. And the most important thing that I want to re emphasize is that, okay, I was about to lie to you guys. The reason why I started liking my jawline is because other people were giving me the validation. But the reason that I like it now is because I look in the mirror and I like it. I want to re-emphasize that don't wait for the world to give you something like I did. Give it to yourself. So don't wait for the world to tell you that you are beautiful. Don't wait for the world to tell you that being sick is beautiful. Don't wait for the world to tell you that looking your eyebrows, they're bushier than the head on your hair. They're bushier than the hair on your head. Don't wait for the world to tell you that that is beautiful. Don't wait for the world to tell you that your brown eyes are beautiful. Don't wait for the world to tell you that your hip dips are beautiful. Because one day, the thing is about this world is that we like everything, but not at the same time. So one day, I promise you, it might be 200 years from now, but I promise you, one day, hip dips, they're going to be the end thing. Huh? Just like how back in the day, being skinny was the end thing. Being skinny was a beauty standard, right? One day, that day came where people are now like, nah, you need to be thick. So just like right now you feel insecure because you look a certain way, you have a certain body part. You look insecure, you feel insecure because you speak a certain way, you don't pronounce your words properly. There's gonna be one day where that very thing you're insecure about is gonna be externally validated. You don't need to care about that whether it's going to be externally validated or not. What you need to care about is that you are able to internally validate yourself for that thing that you're insecure about, therefore making that insecurity a security. Because as I stated in the beginning of this video, that our insecurities stem from not seeing the value, from not seeing the beauty about the thing that we are insecure about. And as soon as you can see the value, the beauty, and internally accept that value and beauty, you are no longer you will always be insecure about that thing. Once you accept the value, the beauty of the thing you are insecure about, you are no longer insecure about it, and it becomes a security. So that's all I want you to do right now is to honestly become aware of the beauty of the thing you're insecure about. Become aware about the beauty of your lisp. If you have a lisp and you're a guy, I promise you there's some girl out there who will love to hear you speak because she thinks your lisp is cute. If you are insecure because your voice is high, I promise you there's some person out there who's gonna love to hear you speak. If you're a girl and your voice is deep, I promise you that there's gonna be a guy who's going to fall asleep listening to your voice, saying your voice is so calming. Your voice is the best thing I've listened to in my entire life. If you are insecure about your height, I promise you there's going to be a girl who's going to be like, I love short kings. So if there's someone out there who's going to externally validate you, you know what? Forget about them and validate yourself. Be that person that you want other people to be. Be that person that you want other people to be. Right? Continue to validate yourself. Continue to give yourself what you want others to give you. And do not extrapolate that to sexual things. Continue to give yourself things that you want other people to give you. If you want other people to give you validation, give it to yourself. The funny thing about this universe is you can only have what you already have. And the Bible says, to those who have, more will be given. To those who don't have, even what they have will be taken away. So applying this to your insecurities, to your sense of belonging, your worth, to those who feel worthy, more will be given to them. Have you noticed that a lot of the times the people who are praised are people who praise themselves? The people who are called creative are people who are like, yeah, I'm creative. The best version of this, I don't know if I'm going to get banned for saying this, but Kanye West would be the first person to say I'm that nigga, and then people called him that nigga. It turned out bad. But the point is, right, to those who have, more will be given. The moment you find validation, the moment you find beauty in the thing you're insecure about, the moment you find power in the thing you're insecure about, you're going to gain more of the thing that you found. So you're going to gain more validation, more beauty, more power. So that's what you need to do for your insecurities. For me, I felt like I wasn't enough. And I decided I was enough. I affirmed that with emotion. And since then, I found like I've just been getting more validation from myself and even from others that I'm enough. See, this reality game is more like an internal game. If you can master yourself, you're gonna master your life. But anyways, to the end of the video, I'm just gonna address some questions that I got. So the first question I got from one of my dear friends, Gilan, how to get over not having 100 M's in the bank. Give yourself the 100 M's. You don't have to get over it. You just have to fix it. Give yourself 100 M's. Like, to be honest, I don't know. I don't have 100 M's in my bank account. I don't even have an M. I don't even have 100K. I don't even have 10K. But I am rich. So self-doubt and feeling like you're never enough. Someone asked me, how do I get rid of self-doubt and feeling like you're never enough? I think I answered that with my example. And then my dear friend Fari Muswani, who's actually one of my best friends, said, "You daddy, um, come." No, I'm joking. I'm joking. No, I'm not joking. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. anyways, anyways, nah. But anyways, that's a video for today. I'm gonna be doing this comment section thing. I'm gonna try and fuse them better in the video so that I answer them like in the middle. But there it is. Overcoming insecurity. From become yeah, let me stop the video there.